I don't think anyone has better graphics than this, what you see right here. So you're going to be excited when you come to this town.
I already am.
All right, joining us live on the podcast broadcast, very special guest who is performing this Sunday at the Linda Ronstat Music Hall on the 21st, and we're going to get her on the air here in a little bit. You may recognize her as a television personality. She's on Fox News, Fox Nation. She's a stand-up comedian. She's an author of a best-selling book as well, who talks about the power of comedy. Where the book is called "You Can't Joke About That: Why Everything Is Funny, Nothing is Sacred, and We're All in This Together." We got Kat Timpf. Good morning, Kat.
Good morning.
Yeah, and I'm excited to have you on and reach out to your publicist here. When I saw that you were announced on here, it's a very weird weekend too that we're celebrating here in Tucson, because it's almost like it's like a comedy weekend. We have all these like high profile comedy shows, big comedy shows that are happening. You're kind of like capping it out, rounding it off, if you will, on Sunday at the Linda Ronstat Music Hall, literally following up two other comedy shows. So you're the third comedy show in a row. And you got the Bad Friends comedy tour with Andrew Santino and Bobby Lee on Friday, Steve Trevino on Saturday, and then you like basically headlining and closing it down on Sunday. And that's a pretty impressive comedy lineup that you decided to join.
I'm very, you know what? I'm very, very excited. I've had so much fun doing the show, and getting to meet people and be in front of people rather than just the audience of the internet. Because if you just only see that, I mean, it gets me sometimes a little bit where I'm like, we're done. We're done for, pack it up. We're done. But then you go out and perform in front of these live audiences and they laugh and everyone has a great time. And I do meet and greets and I meet people who are sane. And it really does. It's very exciting and helpful for me. Oh, my dog's going to jump up here.
That's fine. Yeah, bring the dog in on the conversation. Yeah, I mean, it has to be like even healthy for you too, to be like reminded that people aren't these vicious monsters when they're not anonymous and they're in front of you, and because when you are doing and interacting and doing so much social media and video content, and in dealing with the comment section,
it's rough. It's rough.
Yeah,
I mean, for me personally, it's I'm independent politically, so I'm not a Republican. I'm also not a Democrat, but I work at Fox. So it's like one day, or sometimes the same day, I'll be getting crap from one side, and the next day I'll be getting crap from the other side. Because if you say one, let's say, positive thing about Trump, then all of a sudden you're MAGA. Or if you make even a joke about Trump or say something negative about Trump, all of a sudden you're for Biden, and it's just neither of those things are true. And I think what I love about the show that I do on the road is it's about the stuff we have in common. It's about human stuff. And I think the way that we framed the debate about speech is kind of wrong, where it's like comedy and free speech on one side and then sensitivity on the other side, and we all get along. I think that's not true. I think the more we can be open, along as it's with good intentions. I mean, making a joke's a lot different than being a jerk because you're a jerk.
Yeah, and then punching down and everything else, right?
And any of that stuff. And but humor can be super healing within yourself. And I talk a lot about the traumatic stuff in my life and the way that joking about it helped me get through it, but also in your relationships with other people.
Right. Yeah. And that's exactly why I wanted to have you on, right? Because, on the surface, when you look at your resume, there's a lot of people will probably be quick to be like, if they were like leaning hard on the left, like, nope, she's on Fox News, then, it's extreme, and I knew that wasn't the case with you, but, you're obviously under that umbrella. Do you feel like you have like basically coworkers that are constantly trying to like recruit you and be like, hey, this is a good guy right here?
My coworkers honestly don't. I'm grateful that the show that I'm on, I'm very much always encouraged to be myself. I've never been told, no, you shouldn't say that or don't say that. No, it's more like the people, like we said earlier in the comments section, bullying me to kind of fall in line. And something that really frustrates me is there'll be an ad, and I shouldn't read it at all, but like I do, and it's hard not to, but I'm getting better. But anyway, yes, even I did a podcast with Michael Costa of The Daily Show, and we had this great conversation. It was an hour-long conversation co-posted like a clip from it where I speak for like 30 seconds on Instagram yesterday. And I've like, I can't go on Instagram anymore because it's so insane from both sides. Like it's to me, it was a very tepid clip. I don't think it was a controversial clip, but basically he was like, Trump, I think is a troll. And I'm like, well, of course he's a troll, but people think he's funny. That's one of the things people like about him. For me, the things I don't like aren't really about that. And in any case, I'm just the most bummed that those are the two choices we have again this time.
Yeah. And I think it represents a lot of people in this country for sure.
It does, but it doesn't represent the voices that you actually hear from.
Right.
On the internet. So I've been flooded with like, you're a traitor and I'm like, to what? To who? And it's, again, this is something that I've said. This is not a secret, right? I mean, this is, I've never said otherwise throughout my career. But it's also like because of the platform that I have, obviously most of the audience of that channel is conservative. I know for a fact that I could have more popularity, which translates into more money if I just decided like I was going to go full MAGA. So it's not
go all in. Yeah.
Right. It's not. And I've had people straight up ask me who are like friends, like, why don't you do that? And it's because I'm not. And I wouldn't be able to handle the hate if it was me saying something I didn't believe. And there's nothing wrong with being a Trump person. And I say every single day, whoever you vote for, whoever you support, that doesn't tell me everything I need to know about you. And I think it's so wrong when anyone on any side treats it that way.
Right. Yeah, I agree. And then, and being in media as well, you saw the change of people's attitudes when it comes to, joking about the president when Donald Trump started becoming a candidate. Like, I was doing radio for a good 7 years before that. And, I grew up thinking every comedian makes fun of the president. I think that's the ultimate punch up, right? Then as soon as you started making anything to kind of point out anything that may be humorous, I started getting like immediate like blowback. And it's a difficult time to talk about political current events and still be a comedian. And I feel like we're finally kind of getting through that to a certain extent, where you're finally like you could cater to a crowd that's in the middle and not worry about the extremes that are on the left and the right.
Yeah, and I really just don't see, I mean, honestly, my show is about this and the things I joke about, and we really do have so much more in common than we do different. I mean, I have so many different kinds of friends in my life because of the jobs I've worked and the places I've lived. I've had a very full life already, where I have friends that are super MAGA. I have friends who are Republicans who don't like Trump. I have friends who are Democratic socialists, and they're all really valuable relationships to me in some way. And I think that, to me, what's become more and more clear is that it's the people in power who really gain more when we're divided, because then it's like a vote for me isn't just a vote for me, it's a vote against the evil other side. And so that is a really great tactic for them, but for the rest of us, it really hurts what could be really meaningful relationships that we could be having with each other.
You're absolutely right about that. We're going to get on about 2 minutes, and we'll talk more about that on the air as well. And how long have you been doing stand-up comedy? Did you start in college?
I've been doing it on and off since after I graduated college. And the show that I do now is like, it's a one-woman show, but it's stand-up-ish too. It's a really, really cool concept, and I'm really excited about it. I'm excited to bring it to you guys.
I love it. Yeah. I want to dive deeper into that as well. So are you just a mixture of like storytelling and then some maybe one-liners thrown in the mix? Kind of.
Yeah, a lot of one-liners. It's storytelling. So, but there's also a message. The book it's a slideshow where I kind of provide the receipts for the things I talk about in the book, but every slide has a punchline. And it's really fun. It's really fun because, I mean, 14 years ago, I was a cashier at Boston Market, and that was my first job out of college. And I had a lot of horrific things happen to me between then and now. And then I found that the pressure to speak about those things correctly, or what society considers to be correctly, it really made things harder for me. And it made the devastating isolating for me, but joking about it really helped me. So that's kind of the message of the show as well. So it's funny. You'll be people laugh at things that you never think that you'd find yourself laughing at. But people, I mean, I feel a greater sense of connection with people whenever I do one of these shows. I know the people who come feel the same way.
Yeah, that's awesome. How long did it take you to kind of work on this show before taking it on the road?
Well, it was crazy because I didn't even know what the show was going to be at first. So it's changed as it's gone on. So I'd say like a month for the first iteration, but then I did a round of dates in the fall. And after the first couple of months, it really kind of got honed down to something that I feel just really awesome about. And then afterwards, I have a Q&A kind of about my book and other things. But it's also there's bits worked into the Q&A too. So
good. Nice. All right. Well, about 18 seconds, going to get on the air. I'm going to recap a couple things to remind people to go check out the book and, of course, the show, which like I'm excited about. So let's get right into it. Let's see. There's some music. Rock 1 2.1. Song's not over yet. KFMA, welcome back. Beef Vegan Presents. That was Shine Down. On the podcast broadcast, we got a very special guest. She is performing at the Linda Ronstat Music Hall this Sunday. Tickets available, tcc.com. She is also the author of a book. You can't joke about that. Why everything is funny, nothing is sacred, and we're all in this together. And in the background is her dog making sounds. That's not weird.
I know. I'm so sorry. That's Carl. I mean, my husband's in the shower, so this is Carl right here. And
Kat Timpf is joining us.
Yes, we got him in March of the pandemic, so he doesn't know how to not be touching someone. So as long as my husband's in the shower, there's no choice but to have him on my lap right now. So that's the snoring of a French bulldog for anybody.
So you got the dog during pandemic, so then you had to constantly coddle him. It was almost like your therapy animal, getting you through the pandemic as well. And now you spoiled him to the point where you 100% have to focus on Carl.
Exactly. He's just I mean, when he was a puppy, people were home. I mean, I was working we was only on a weekly show at that point. So we were home like all the time. So he got used to someone being with him all the time. And now he flips out if he's alone, which I've been through some of that in my life, so I kind of get it.
It's just like his mom.
Yeah.
Now, Kat's a very busy woman, and why I'm excited to have her on the podcast broadcast because I recognize the grind. The resume is stacked. She later on she'll be filling in on Gutfeld. I'm sure you recognize her on Fox News if you check that out. Of course, she also does a podcast with Tyrus, who's a former heavyweight champion professional wrestling. And
I'm not doing the podcast right now.
Oh, you're on a sabbatical with Tyrus. Are you on good terms or not good terms with Tyrus?
We're totally on good terms. We're both on tour.
Oh yeah.
So
okay.
We're both so busy.
What an odd couple, but also what an odd couple, but also like a great morning radio kind of tandem you guys had as well. I mean, it's kind of reminiscent. I mean, if I gained 100 pounds and 8 inches, I could potentially be Tyrus-like, but it's very similar to like Weirdo and mine's dynamic in a way.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So you also worked at Barstool Sports. So you were. So what was the Barstool culture like when you were a part of it before you went on and continued in other endeavors?
So I worked at Barstool and Fox at the same time, and I was also working as a columnist at National Review at the same time. And I worked at Barstool when they first moved to New York. So it was a very different operation at the time. I have nothing but positive things to say about my time at Barstool. When my book came out, I did several shows over there. I did a lot of man on the street videos that were insane experiences. And I did one that goes viral, for example, every few years that I did at a Juggalo gathering.
So you went to the gathering of the Juggalos?
I did go. And at the time, like I said, Barstool's a way smaller operation. So Gaz, who's Portnoy's right-hand man, was my camera guy. So it was really just me and Gaz at the gathering, and he was wearing salmon colored shorts, and we definitely stood out. But I went to spring break with him, and there's a lot of really fun things that I got to do at Barstool, and I still have great relationships over there with all those people.
Now, when you were doing the gathering of the Juggalos, were you terrified, or did you I feel like you ended up fitting in, and did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I think there's something wrong with me because the whole time I was just like, this content is fire. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wasn't, even when a guy threatened to hit my camera and all this other stuff, I was kind of like, keep rolling. This is great. I mean, I hate doing man on the street stuff until I start doing it. It's like going to the gym. When you go there, you're like, oh, I don't want to do this. And then you start and it's fun. And I've always been good at it. So that's a goal of mine to start doing some of that stuff again. But with all my spare time.
I think it's a different experience because, Kat's also being a television personality or an attractive person. So, I think your experience doing man on the streets are different from like when somebody like myself attempts to do the man on the street stuff too, right? Which I have done. So, how many no's would you average get before you get a yes? Because when I approach people, I have to disarm them in a way where it's like, no, trust me, I'm not as creepy as I look. Will you please talk to me on camera? And I get so many no's before I get a yes.
It depends where I am. It really does. The Juggalos, they were all pretty much down to talk to me, except towards the end. Spring break, the drunk kids were very down to talk to me. But it really just kind of depends. I think the way that I've always approached it too, and it's not really a tactic so much as it is actually genuine, is when I'm doing them, I'm honestly curious.
Yeah.
I'm honestly, like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
Right.
It seems awesome. You guys are having a good time. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I truly, I mean, I remember one of the guys, I mean, there's so many things that happen in this video. There's a guy in this tent, he's smoking a bowl, whatever, talking to the guy about how long he drove, some insane amount of time he drove to be there. And I was like, is there anything you care about more in the world than ICP? And he was like, honestly, no. It's just stuff like that to me. And I refuse to be in a bubble of any kind. And so that's what I like about that. That's what I like about the tour. That's what I like about maintaining relationships with so many different kinds of people is I refuse to be in a bubble of any kind.
Right. Yeah. And constantly staying active. I'm sure, you going to Gathering the Juggalos on your resume definitely helped you land a job at Fox News somehow,
I was working there at the same time. That's the crazy thing. But
they allowed you. Did they drug test you immediately when you returned?
No, but yeah, they allowed me, they allowed me to do that. They allowed me to do things with Barstool. Ultimately, it was just kind of, I mean, I got busier at Fox, and then I couldn't put the work in that I needed to do at Barstool. Like I said, I still have great relationships with those people, and I've definitely been on shows since. When I've hosted things, I've had Portnoy on mine. So, yeah.
You've been seeing how much money he's been winning gambling, and at what point do you get concerned about this habit turning into a problem?
He'll always figure it out. That's the thing. He always figures it out. So I wouldn't bet against him.
Well, I mean, obviously, especially this year, I think he's racked up like $5.6 million just in bets. That's how lucky he's been getting. How long did it take you to write your book? And, because I imagine with everything else, you must have like 18-hour days. It seems like you have like 10 jobs all at once consistently.
It took me, the first draft of it took me about 4 months, honestly, which I love to write. And I basically just was writing in all my spare time. And that's how I got it done. I mean, this is something I've been passionate about for a while. And I found that, writing a chapter, I'd get an idea for another one. And I wrote the book to try to make it the best book I can make it. And then after it was done, I flipped out about the fact that people are going to read the stuff that's in there. I'm open, very open about a lot of things that are personal.
Very open.
Things that are gross. And I kind of just decided to freak out about that later. But I think that the vulnerability is also a huge thing. I think that it's another thing that's missing with people trying to present themselves as being super perfect on social media and all that kind of stuff. I think that it can be really I think that two things that can disarm a conversation are humor and also just being a human, showing people you're a human by admitting to weaknesses or something hard you've been through or something that you got wrong or something you messed up or something gross that can really kind of disarm it.
Right. Yeah. And we'll talk about some of the gross things that are featured in the book on the podcast broadcast. We'll have more with a comedian, Kat Timpf, who is performing this Sunday at the Linda Ronstat Music Hall. Tickets available at tcc.com. You can join the conversation, youtube.com/Beef Vegan, or we'll have more with Kat after music from Green Day and Rock 102.1 KFMA. Clear.
And I mean, that's 100% true because like my family's on social media because we're in a unique situation. But the more honest I am of like, no, this is just our life, or like even like you said, the humorous things, the gross things, the I effed up things, like people would be like, I don't agree with how your family lives, but like you guys are awesome and we could have a conversation. Like, again, honesty,
Absolutely.
vulnerability, transparency, like, is a lot. I mean, that's how I landed this gig, honestly.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I post all kinds of different things on social media. I posted a picture where I was like in the lobby of a Hyatt and like my room wasn't ready yet. And I've been traveling all day and like I look really ugly. Like and it's like funny. You know what I mean? I don't look just like
Yeah.
medium. I look like absolutely hideous because
Yeah, yeah.
I thought it was funny. And I also like I don't care. Like sometimes insults get to me. I'm not gonna pretend they don't, but about my appearance, they really don't. They just
Right.
don't.
Did you
So
read
it's
the
like,
comments after you posted that and have a chuckle? Or did people like
well,
go
I
after
did
you?
laugh because some people were earnestly like, I think I like you better when XYZ, how you look. I'm like, yeah, no
You're more
kidding, dude.
obtainable.
Like, I
Yeah.
do look way better after an hour and a half in hair and makeup. Like, this isn't my new headshot I'm showing you.
right. Everybody looks better after an hour and a half of hair and makeup. Like, come on.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Weirdo's unique experience that she's referring to is she's in a polycube relationship. Meaning that
Okay.
she has 3 partners that she sleeps in a bed with, like Willy Wonka's grandparents style.
I was just
right?
gonna say the only concern I have with that is how big does the bed have to be?
We have a Texas King, so it's
Oh,
120
got it.
inches
Okay.
across and 80 inches long. Yeah, which is just basically a family bed. Which
Yeah.
actually, that was a lot of people being like, "What size is your bed?" It's just me, my husband, and our dog. But that would be amazing. So I've explained our bed so many times to people who weren't even interested in poly. They're like, "I just want a huge comfy bed because that means I've made it." And I was like, "Yeah, I guess."
Yeah, curiosity for sure.
But yeah, but like I mean, we've had our looks insulted a lot too. And in fact, there was one day that like Beef was like coaching me through it because like some of them I was like laughing as whatever, and it was starting to bother me. And the comment that bothered me the most now makes me laugh the most because I was like, I got to give the guy credit on creativity for insulting my looks.
Well,
Yeah.
he was pretty spot on with your partners and stuff. Where I was just like, oh, it's like vicious, but also like nailed it.
Yeah.
And you're like, ooh.
But again, at the end of the day, like you said, you just have to laugh at it, and especially with like trauma and everything. Like you have to laugh and you have to have the humor because you can only cry so much.
Yeah, and then also I feel like saying you can't joke about a subject gives the subject that's scary or traumatic even more power because now you've made it untouchable, right? And when
Exactly.
you laugh in the face of it, whenever I've made jokes about stuff, even it's like my own mom's like untimely death, people are like, "That's not funny." I'm like, "Do you think that I think it is? Like, do you think I think it is funny that happened?" It's like, no, that's how I'm getting through this. And these people kind of they see themselves as being compassionate, but they're not. It's actually so clearly rooted in self-interest. They're upset they had to think about dead moms for a second, for example.
Right.
So, and for me, what they're really doing is they're saying you can't have this healing mechanism that's working for you, and that's being selfish.
Yeah. And such a weird experience to go through. Sorry about your loss, by the way, but her mom was diagnosed with a rare disease and then like 3 weeks later passed away.
Yes.
So during that time, I mean, did you even in real time when it was happening, did you know that it was going to end so quickly, or was there still some optimism?
I didn't think it was going to happen that quickly. I thought maybe I'd have like a year or so. As things went on, it became clear to me as she was in the ICU and stuff like that. I was like, oh, she's going to die soon. But everyone kind of around me, kind of like people did have optimism, and that was actually frustrating for me. She had a sense of humor about it. But it was really because it happened so suddenly, people didn't expect it to happen. I got hired at Fox like 6 months after. I had just moved to New York. I had all these new people in my life, new things in my life. I didn't want to like weird anybody out by like telling people what was going on because people would get weirded out and I would feel bad. And when I made people feel uncomfortable just by telling them how my life was going, I would feel bad. And then eventually what I learned and what I always do now, if it ever comes up, is if I'm like, oh, she's dead or she died or what, and someone says, oh, I'm so sorry, I just say, it's okay, you didn't kill her. And then the vibe of the conversation changes, and then we can have like a normal conversation where I don't feel bad anymore about the sad thing that happened to me.
That's a great response. I might have to take that because my brother passed away 15 years ago, and people will still be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." I'm like, "It was a long time ago. Like I've moved on." You know what I mean? But I'm gonna take that one. That's good.
Until the day the person's like, "Wait, well, what was your brother's name again?" Just double checking, making sure it wasn't me.
Right?
Yeah.
Like you can't tell that joke to OJ. Well, you can't tell that joke anymore anyway.
Well, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, it sucks, and but I've been going through it, and you're actually not helping me right now by like making me feel bad that I like brought the vibe in the room down just because my life is what it is.
No, you do.
Right.
Well, look, and it's such a life is weird, right? And you got all these opportunities while you're still processing,
Right.
and you have to be strong. So that's another sign and of like an example of your strength as you continue to be ambitious and move forward in your career. And it's something. It's another one of those traits that I highly respect about it, because I know how difficult it could be. I know how easy it is to shut down when you're dealing with that, as opposed to saying, "Oh wait, it's go time. Here's the opportunity that I'm working for, that I still have to put my game face on and power through it." And then through that, you're able to process that by writing a book and continue to work on your craft through your stand-up comedy and everything else. So all this stuff is very admirable traits, and that's why I'm so excited to have you on, Kat. I can't say that enough, but the story is impressive. And the resume continues to impress and grow, and so I'm very happy for you, for you able to do that. Now I know that you're so busy too, and you're young, and you just got married a couple years ago. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
But obviously it's difficult to have a family and
Mhm.
during this time when you're still getting everything going. So you have you're actually embryos frozen. You have about 9 of them frozen, right?
9. Yeah, I have
Yeah.
9 of them frozen.
Did
Yes.
you name them just in case? So you ever go through and like with your husband and just come up with what is it, like six boys, 3 girls, something like that?
Yeah, 6 boys, 3 girls. No, I haven't named them. I think that it's something that I never thought I wanted kids. I never even, like, wanted a boyfriend, and then
Mhm.
it's, like, so cringe, but, like, I did fall in love, and I got married, and I was like, "You know what? I wanna have his kids."
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I
So
wanna
you
have
knew
his
that was
kids.
yeah, that's the one. So yeah, you didn't think
Yeah.
before that. It was no kids before that till you met this dude and you're like, I got to make more of these guys.
Yeah, absolutely, and he's just,
Mm.
like, I dated always, like, comedians and artists, musicians, there was a rapper, etcetera. He's, like, a finance guy who, like, went to West Point and, he's from Westchester, and it's the complete opposite of anyone I've ever dated, but
Right.
I thought all of it would be boring, but it's actually not boring, it's actually very fun. He's actually
Yeah.
very accepting and awesome and, like, lets me be me, which it's not always easy because I'm pretty out there,
Yeah.
and the way he puts it, he's like, you take market risk every time you open your mouth, which is true. And he's just down to take that ride and never telling me, oh, I don't know. I mean, some of the stuff that I talk about on stage that it does involve him, you might not, or the book that, my mother-in-law read that note, where I talk about our sex life when I had an ostomy briefly in 2020. Most
Yeah.
people might be like, I don't know that I want the world to know that, but he's like, okay, well, let's do that. They do.
You made it happen, which is
Right.
good. I mean, you were still young in your marriage as well, or
Yeah,
relationship.
well, we had just gotten it. We
Yeah.
were engaged actually, and
Oh
I did
yeah.
have it reversed. It was only for 5 weeks, like not to brag, but my intestines back inside. But
Yeah.
going through that,
Congratulations.
thank you. Going through that disgusting thing with somebody, it's like, oh, I am making the right call, marrying this
Mhm.
person.
Right. And I have a friend who
Hold that
went through
thought.
the same thing.
Let's get back on the air here and reset this.
Okay.
Rock 102.1 KFMA. We're with comedian Kat Timpf, who's performing this Sunday at the Linda Ronstat Music Hall. And tickets are available for that at tcc.com. We're going to give away a pair of tickets here in a little bit. She's also the author of a book called You Can't Joke About That, Why Everything is Funny, Nothing is Sacred, and We're All in This Together. And we're talking, I don't know how I'm going to recap of the conversation we were just having about, having your intestines kind of hang out of you, and not a colostomy bag, but something similar to that, right, Kat?
Ileostomy. So
Ileostomy.
in the pandemic, I had like a really bad stomach ache where I couldn't walk, I could hardly breathe. It was really bad. I was like, and you don't want to go to the ER in peak COVID, especially New York City was in November. It was
Scary.
like still the peak everything. We were all the rules,
Yeah.
whatever. The last place I want to go to the ER was the ER. I'm glad I went because I found out I had like a perforated bowel, very slight, but I needed an ileostomy, which is a bag that it's your small intestines out of your stomach and it's a bag and it was horrible. It
Yeah.
was horrible.
And you're
And
engaged at the time to the man that
yes,
you're married to now.
yes, I was engaged. I still was working at the time, but I didn't want to like tell anybody. I told maybe like a couple people that I was even going through this because going back to the theme of my book and everything else, there's really just no chill way to have that conversation. Like,
No.
and so I just opened it up.
It's not like coffee talk humor,
Yeah.
like,
No.
it's huge.
We're both like, no, don't talk about that.
No.
And we've talked about gross things, and we're like, man, maybe not that thing.
Yeah.
And
You were
that
on
was
TV
my
during that
life,
time.
though. I mean, that was
Yeah.
living that. I mean, I remember I had to talk to my therapist about it, where he would make me like look at it and touch it, because I was just walking around with massive anxiety all the time, because you can't run away from your own body, right?
Right.
So but again, it was one of those things where I do talk. I don't know if anybody's familiar with the comedian Jim Norton.
Oh, yeah.
But
Love him.
I love him too. He's going to be on when I'm guest hosting Gutfeld tonight. I was on his radio show when the book came out, and he said, as your friend, I'm so sorry that happened to you, but as a comedian, I'm so jealous that happened to you, because I did get a lot of material out of it that I now have on the show. But the whole time, that was the only thing that helped me.
Yeah.
Because are you okay? Like, no, I'm not. But I already feel weird enough. So please don't treat me weird, because I'm having no help feeling weird right now.
Right.
And I kind of, in the chapter I wrote about it, kind of expanded that, because I just started doing research, because thinking about other people, like whether it's Norm Macdonald or Chadwick Boseman, people dying of cancer we didn't know they had.
Right.
And I did a lot of research, and the Google results for how to tell people I have cancer were way more than the word just cancer itself.
Oh,
Which I thought was really remarkable.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I didn't even think about that question, but yeah, there's got to be an approach to be able to break that. I will say the silver lining and having this bag and while you're engaged, and now that you're husband, what a great way to test like how true the love is. Like, is this
And
guy
he still
in
had
it?
sex with me, which
Exactly.
is another reason why I don't care if anyone ever calls me ugly on the internet. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Must
Listen, half
not
my
be.
stomach was hanging
I
out,
must-
and I still
yes.
got laid.
This
I
is the
must
true
not
test.
be.
Yeah, this
Mhm.
is the true test for in sickness and in health, for better or worse. That's
Hell
like
yeah.
you gave them all at once before you even had to say those vows and say I do.
Exactly.
And he passed the test. Yeah, it's amazing. My next relationship, I'll try to do something like that. Be like, this is how gross it can be. Still
Yeah,
in?
I mean, most couples don't get this test ever. If you do, it's usually not till your 80s. So
Well, you talked about curiosity earlier, that when you do these man on the street kind of interviews, and you're like, literally, I'm just coming from a curious place. Like, I'm very, very similar to where you just said, like, my husband's, my fiance still had sex with me. I'm like, so how did it work? How did you do it? Because if I'm ever in that position, I would want to know, how would I need to do this?
There's a company that makes lingerie where it's like there's a belt you can have that's like cover it and kind of hold it in place.
Sexy. And it's all
Really?
lacy and stuff?
Yeah, I bought.
That's amazing.
I was down, like I was pretty down bad. So I was like, I was treating
treated
myself
yourself.
to I think it was like it was, I forget what the company was called, but it was something with like intimates and ostomates or something like that.
Wow.
But it's one of those. I mean, people. It's like an estimated about 1 million people are living with that anytime. I mean, it's this thing that happens to people.
Right.
It's just not a
Yeah.
thing people talk about. I didn't.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
So-
amazing.
But
And
now
it's-
you are, and probably helping a lot of people out, because hearing
Yeah.
about that, there's a lingerie line for it. It's like,
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Well, now
I
that you're
learned
on
a lot
tour
of
too.
things.
Yeah,
And
now
then
that
also
you're-
you can eat like Mike and Ike's and like gummy candy to kind of stop it up for a little while if you're gonna go somewhere.
Really?
That's
Yeah,
cool.
or marshmallows work.
Does that make you constipated too then, in theory?
You don't have those kinds of feelings because it's the small intestine.
Oh.
So yeah.
So
Because it's
gummy
allowing
actually
your colon to heal, and it heals
Yeah.
itself. So while you wait,
Interesting
It's-
life hacks learned today on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
yeah, and I
You
have a
used-
scar on my stomach from it that's small, but I kind of love it. I was really worried about it at first, and then it's kind of just like, I went through this thing that was life-changing, and I almost died, and my stomach shouldn't look the same as somebody who didn't.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. If anything, it's like a beauty mark. Imperfection is sexy too. So
I like it. I was really worried about it at first. Because like, oh, I'm gonna be permanently damn. And it's like, I feel like a lot of people would get it covered up and they get a tattoo to base the experience. I'm just gonna keep the mark that I think of it like a tattoo almost.
yeah, absolutely. And trust me, I bet you your scar looks better than half my tattoos.
Yeah, it does. I don't even know you, but just
Oh, they're bad.
probably. Yeah.
Of course, Kat's going to be performing this Sunday at the TCC. Does the tour have a name? Like, what's the name of this show? Because this is like a one-man show / stand-up comedy / Q&A that you're going to be hosting Sunday at the TCC.
Yeah, it's called You Can't Joke About That Live. It's based on the book, but you can come whether you've read the book or whether you've not read the book and never heard of me in your entire life.
Right.
So it'll be fun for anyone and everyone.
Yeah, it's definitely a fun show. It's been getting, great buzz, and you've been on this tour now. So you're kind of like, is it like halfway through? You've done the initial runs, and kind of like the show kind of evolved, and now are we at a point where you feel like this is the show as like perfect as it can be for you?
I do. I honestly do, and I'm very, very proud of it. It's a lot to be on TV 5 days a week and then tour Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
But I love it. So that's how it's possible.
Back to the grind for sure. And, I think you're quickly trying to develop a reputation for being one of the hardest working women in show business. And I respect it. I respect the grind, the hustle. I look forward to, you coming out to Tucson, enjoying our lovely city. Make sure you eat some good tacos while you're here too. We're going to wrap things up with Kat Timpf on the podcast broadcast, but don't forget this Sunday at Linda Ronstat Music Hall. Tickets are available for her show and you can go there today. But if you want to try to win those tickets for free, we'll say caller number 10 right now, 600 KFMA, 600-536-2. I forgot my number. Kat, is there any, like if people want to follow you, any of that, what are some of your handles?
Kat Timpf on everything. It's at KATTIMPF as in Frank.
And then later on tonight, she'll be filling in for Gutfeld. So if you come across Fox News, keep an eye out for Kat holding that down. We're going to hit the reset, be back with more Beef Vegan Presents after these words. Rock 102.1 KFMA. And Kat, thank you very much.
Awesome.
Thank you. That was a therapeutic conversation for me. So I appreciate it.
That's awesome. And do you have any plans of filming this tour to like release as like a special?
Perhaps.
Maybe.
We'll see.
Okay.
But perhaps.
Yes. All right, before I let you go.
Oh my God, the dog is so cute.
I know, sorry, he's so loud.
Let's see who your winner is. Rock 102.1, who's this?
It's Jose.
Jose, you want to go see Kat live this Sunday?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, stay on the line. I'm going to get your info. So there was Jose. He won the tickets. We'll be giving out tickets for the rest of the week, but I know that you got a busy day ahead of you. Again, thank you for taking so much time hanging out with us. We really enjoyed the conversation as well.
I did too. I really did. I really appreciate
surprising,
it.
Right?
So
was it surprising to be honest? You're just like, Beef Vegan and Weirdo, this is going to fucking
what the
suck,
hell?
dude.
Well, I just didn't know what to expect. And I just had come off of, getting a lot of hate from people like yesterday. So it's always nice to talk to people who are better adjusted. And honestly, you guys, Beef Vegan and Weirdo, are way better adjusted than the people I've seen in the comment section lately. So thank you.
No problem. No problem. Well, safe travels out here. And I hope you have a fantastic show on Sunday. So, and keep up the great work.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Awesome.
All right, Kat, everybody. All right, so we're gonna hit the reset. Earlier this morning or yesterday, we did a 5-star review. In case you missed it, went something like this: 2.1 KFMA. As you know, my good friend Rico likes to go to different local establishments, and when he has a pleasurable experience, he immediately rushes to Google reviews. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Rico's 5-star review. Who did you review this week?
Sweet Tomatoes.
Yes, we were there together.
We
Love
were.
to hear your experience, even though I was there, because I feel like we still had two separate experiences.
Let's relive it again, shall we?
Yes, please.
As a person who has been eating food all of my life, it's safe to say I like to eat food. People always say, there goes Rico enjoying sustenance again, acting all jealous. So when I hear friends mention a lunch spot, my ears perk up and I automatically start drooling. I have a friend they call Beef, and overheard him recently talking about places to get lunch while he was talking on the phone on the toilet again.
That's me.
I was washing my hands and I couldn't help but note his enthusiasm when he said, yeah, man, it's the only one. They shut down so many of my favorite spots during the pandemic, including this one, but this is a mother effing phoenix rising from the ashes. Yes, I'm going. No, you're not invited. And then he hung up and burped. When he came out of the stall, we made immediate eye contact, and I told him I heard everything and had to know what restaurant he was talking about. He gave a smug grin and giggled to himself before saying, dude, not a restaurant, an experience. It's not buying a meal, it's buying a ticket to the best roller coaster of orgasmic mouth bliss you've ever had. My pants were getting tighter, and I demanded to know what the heck he was talking about. Sweet tomatoes, he whispered. What?
It's starting to sound like a penthouse forum letter.
Let me continue, Beef.
Okay.
Sweet tomatoes, he whispered. And then I jumped when he yelled, "It's back! Sweet tomatoes, dude, I go, sweet tomatoes, dude, I hate tomatoes. I did Shakespeare in the Park in Romania in 2011, and the crowd booed me as I was doing my Mercutio soliloquy and started throwing tomatoes at me.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
It's just the name, Rico. I go, what's in the name? It's the best buffet ever, man. They got all sorts of lettuce and toppings and everything carb-related you can imagine. I don't know, Beefy. I can imagine carbs pretty good. Do they have an oversized crouton cube that has breadstick torpedo hatches? Last time I was there, they did, yeah. After I forced him to let me tag along after bringing up some blackmail, I reached in my pockets and pulled out some pre-game Tums, and we both downed the whole bottle. He wasn't wrong when we pulled up. Evidently, we weren't the only ones who knew about this majestic establishment.
Nope.
The line stretched around the whole building. They even had event barricades and horse cops guiding the hungry patrons to keep order.
Don't recall that.
Some try to cut in line and were immediately tranquilized and given complimentary ranch dressing upon awakening in the back of the line.
Oh, no.
Beef and I tried to fit in with the unruly crowd of hungry malcontents. We wore shrouds and tattered robes, and after 7 hours of waiting, we finally arrived at the cruciferous gates. "Are you ready?" said Beef, his lips dry and dehydrated, eyes sunken and shaking from hunger, but still maintaining a glow of excitement. "I am, sir." We entered the doors, and immediately the heavens shone upon us. Rows of fruits and veggies, sauces and toppings, plates and bowls just ready for the taking. Beef wasted no time and immediately started filling his tray. His eyes shot wide open, and he looked at me, grabbed my wrist in a joyful fury, and said, "We made it, my boy. Fill your plate and fill your heart." Time seemed to stop as some existential haze took over. It was like a dream, and everything and nothing made sense at the same time.
Yeah.
1 second, my hand was filled with bacon bits, romaine lettuce, and beets, and the next, cheddar broccoli soup was flowing like a golden river into a bowl of gods. A pyramid of focaccia bread propped up by brownie bites and buttermilk cornbread. Deep kettle house chili rained upon said pyramid. And the next thing I knew, I woke up in the booth with an empty tray in front of me and Beef lowering a bowl from his overflowing jowls. "Are you ready for round 2?
Oh, no.
I stood up and blood rushed to my brain, and I woke up again in the backseat of my truck. It was dark, and I reached for my phone to see it was 3:23 a.m. and a folded note taped to my steering wheel. In bold letters, it just said, "You're welcome." Except he used the wrong "your," the one without the apostrophe.
Don't call me out like that.
A single tear rolled down my cheek as I stared through my windshield before backing out and driving into a new future, one of hope and one of new possibilities. Thank you, sweet tomatoes. 5 stars.
That's an actual factual 5-star review that you can find by Googling the only sweet tomatoes in the world, the one on Broadway. And if you come across Rico's 5-star review, make sure you give it a 5-star review and then reply with a correction that I would never use the word "your" incorrectly. I know the difference between the "your" with a O-U-R and the apostrophe R-E.
You were just excited. It's okay.
Even if with all the broccoli cheese soup on the brain,
Carb coma.
I would not mess that up.
Fine.
I promise you.
Fine.
But the rest of it, 100% real. It was there. I witnessed it. So, all right. So that was Rico's 5-star review. It was an excellent 5-star review. And we're still basking in the glow of that interview. You guys enjoy the interview that we had with Kat? This is why I had that interview with her, because if I was on a previous show, it would have been a no-go without hesitation. Right. Fox News, done, boom, enemy, right? I'm like, that's, people aren't like that necessarily, right? Yeah, she works for the evil empire for sure, right? But that's not necessarily her politics or her frame of mind, any of that. And I was excited to get to know her, talk with her. Also, I saw a couple times in her eyes where she was surprised that I was dropping this knowledge on her. Because look, you guys know, right? When it comes to this interview game, I don't fuck around, man.
No, you don't.
Yeah. So I almost dropped her social security on her where she's like, how do you know all this stuff? Well,
also people want to complain about Fox News never bringing on people or hiring on people that might have a slightly different opinion. And she's actually the perfect example of that because, yes, she might say, okay, I can see that, or I agree with that. But there's a lot of times she doesn't.
Yeah,
And and it gives that good banter back and forth, and she really holds her own, which is nice.
absolutely. Yeah. And Anthony asked when we could have another tappy hour. That I don't know, but you know what? Cinco de Mayo is coming up right around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Our sales team sucks though, so I might have to go out and try to sell some kind of tappy hour. The last one we did was okay, but I need to try to set up in an area that's good. But obviously, Cinco de Mayo is on a Sunday, so yeah, I might have access to Rico. I don't have access to Weirdo. She's bailing out, so my crew is running thin.
Well, actually, specifically that weekend, I will be out of town camping. But if I wasn't, I would be like, hell yeah, I'll show up.
Yeah, but so it's a little more complicated to pull that off of, but I'll try to figure it out, as we go. I mean, we have Todd, Derek's up in Phoenix. We're working on things, obviously. So we'll see what happens. And I'll end up selling it myself. We had the guy who sold the last happy hour. He just quit the other day. Which I was like, oh, it was surprisingly, there was no 2-week notice, unceremoniously. And I'm just like, well, there we go. There's another one. I gotta, there was somebody I tried to get a job in sales who did this before, who would be killing it. But unfortunately, personal differences, and they didn't hire him. And now I'm like, are you regretting it? Because to be fair to the salespeople, they're not our demo. And that's the nicest way to say it.
Mm-hmm.
What's our demo? I don't know. Men from fucking 18 to 50, and they don't fit that formula. And so they don't understand what we're doing here. They definitely don't grasp what we do on social media.
Well, and it also never makes sense to me of this is business, right? You're at work. You set aside the personal differences to make money. That's the whole, yeah.
Yeah. What happened to Valdez? I'm Valdez. He was great. Valdez is still part of the crew. In fact, actually, Valdez is going to be opening for Steve Trevino, who we interviewed.
Nice.
Yes. We interviewed him a week ago. I'll play clips tomorrow probably for that. Great interview, obviously. Steve's so nice. He's just like, you're a comedian? Come on, do 5 minutes. So Valdez is pumping the shit out of it and doing that. Somebody's calling, so let's see who this is on the air. What can go wrong, huh? Rock 102.1 KFMA. Welcome back to Beef Vegan Presents. Got somebody on the phone. Let's see who this is. Rock, what's your name?
This is Aaron, your Tucson car guy.
Hey, what's up, Aaron?
What up, buddy?
What can I do you for, dude?
What's happening? I'm having a day.
Oh, well, you have an F My Life or something you're trying to share with us right now?
No, not at all. You don't even want me to go there.
Right. Well, you're live on the air right now, Aaron. So, what's the purpose of the call?
I want to see Kat.
Oh, we already gave out those tickets, but Aaron, I actually have a pair of tickets I'm giving away tomorrow and Friday as well. So, and since you know who Kat is, and you listened to the interview, I'm sure you're gonna have a leg up when we throw that number out tomorrow and Friday.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's gonna be a good show. That show actually starts at 5 on a Sunday, which I'm happy about. So doors open at 4, show starts at 5, and it's Linda Ronstat Music Hall. I'm like, oh, this is a show that I could actually go to.
Right. I was about to say a 5 o'clock show. That's wonderful.
Seriously, that's how you know we're getting old. You get excited about that stuff. You're like, you're telling me you're gonna open the doors before it gets dark?
I didn't go to any Roadrunners games this year except for the one that was at 4 o'clock.
I know. So Aaron, so you just keep listening like you always do, and hopefully you'll win those tickets. All right, brother.
I'll win them tomorrow.
All right, good luck to
Y'all
you.
have a great day.
You too, dude.
Later.
Hope your day gets better. All right, so and so many comedy shows. Like I was telling her, and I was telling Kevin Smith this yesterday too. And we've had all these great interviews because of this weekend. And if it's 420 weekend, right? And we all know this, and there's different ways to celebrate. Normally, 420 is my radio anniversary. I've done this 15 years, hosted my own show, or and of course I took a little sabbatical when I got down here. I was co-host, I'm producer for Schmonty. Then I was a producer, third mic bitch for Frank for 3 years until I got my show back again, where it belonged, to be honest with you. 15 years is my anniversary. Normally I go super all out for it, but 420 is on a Saturday. So I could actually breathe easy and just celebrate it by doing the last regular season game of the Roadrunners later on that night, and then hitting up the Great 420 Fest at the Rock afterwards. And that's the way that I'll celebrate it. But this weekend, and it coincides with all this great comedy. So, obviously if you're thinking about a positive stereotype of weed, it's that you laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so what better way? You got like stoner icon Kevin Smith, Rialto Theater on Friday night, and then the Bad Friends comedy show, Andrew Santino, Bobby Lee, their Friday night as well, which is detrimental to Kevin Smith. He's not too happy about that. But Saturday, Steve Trevino, Sunday, Kat Timpf. I mean, it's crazy. And if you want to rock out on a Saturday night for the Great 420 Fest, well, then I got a pair of tickets for you. So 600 KFMA, 605-362. We'll say caller number 10 will get to go to the Rock for free. But first, who's calling right now? Rock 1 2x1, who's this?
Hi there. Dale Anderson. I'm the one who's been bothering you guys on the Facebook.
Oh, Dale. Okay, yeah. What's up, Dale? You know, it's no bother at all when you're commenting along the stream, but yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but
no, I just wanted to say I fucking love your show. I always have. Kat seemed like a really cool cat.
Yeah.
Heh.
I never heard of her before, but yeah, no, I absolutely will keep listening to try and get some tickets.
Yeah, nice.
So,
yeah,
she seems like she fucking rocks.
You gotta stop cursing. I gotta let you go. But yeah, thanks for that, Dale. I just hit the dump twice.
Yeah.
Dale, you're watching the stream, and yeah, we're live on the air, so you could have saw that. But all right, we're giving away those tickets for the Rock, and then when we return, hopefully we will return. I won't get fired. All right, it's Rock 1 2.1 KFMA. Yeah, Dale, you can't be cursing like that, bro. I mean, one F-bomb, and I should have jumped in, but I hit the dump real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And go figure. All right, Rock 1 2.1. Who's this?
This is Andrew.
Andrew, you want to go to the Great 420 Fest at the Rock?
Hello.
Hey, can you hear me? You want to go to the Great 420 Fest on the Rock?
That sounds awesome.
Awesome. All right, cool. Those tickets are yours. All right. So stay on the line. Let me get your info. Yesterday's F My Life with Mari and Rico went a little something like this. Check it out.
Self-loving by your mom.
Awkward. It is awkward.
Did you do something that got you fired from your job?
I just get stupider.
It's fun being stupid.
Don't hide this in vain. Let us laugh at your pain. Call 600 KFMA right away.
I promise we won't embarrass you.
Because Beef Vegan presents F My Life. F My Life. F My Life.
Yes, it's time for another edition of Your F My Life. These are unfortunate situations. Email to us at beefvegan@kfma.com, subject line FML. But of course, if you have an F My Life you care to share on the air, you can give us a call right now, 600 KFMA, 605-362. And if Rico and I agree your life is F, we'll hook you up tickets for the Legacy show featuring all the Marley Sons performing Bob Marley's music live at the Talking Stick Resort Amphitheater on September 12th. That's Stephen Marley, Ziggy Marley, Damian Marley, and the other two Marleys you don't care about. All right. Last F My Life today is the most Tucson F My Life I've come across in at least 18 months.
Whoa.
Yes. So before we get to that, here's our first email sent to me by Meredith. Meredith said the other day, something smelled absolutely disgusting in my bathroom, like cow manure and stinky beetles. I started sniffing around because whatever it was, I had to find it and clean it up. That, however, proved difficult because it turned out that smell was coming from the new soap my mom had bought me.
What?
Yeah, probably like that organic hippie soap. So F My Life for Meredith?
Yeah, big baby. The problem was an easy solution, and I just feel bad that she knows what beetles smell like.
Yeah, I know,
That's
right?
kind of worrisome.
That's true. Yeah, switch back to Dove. All right, next up on Life sent to me by Lawrence. Lawrence said, one time I tried to scare my new college friend by sneaking up behind her wearing a mask. It worked, and so did her lightning-fast reflexes developed from multiple martial arts championships. I had 2 cracked ribs, broken nose, and bruised ball sack added to her list of achievements. F My Life from Creepy Lawrence here.
Yeah, FML. You're going to learn today.
Nah, I'm going to say big baby on that one, dude. What are you doing? And hopefully you're old enough to know you don't sneak up on women that you don't necessarily know wearing a mask, period, right? I mean, come on, bro. I think you...
lesson learned?
Yeah, lesson learned. Lesson learned. Hopefully you can still have kids. Sounds like it might be an issue. All right, next, F My Life sent to me by DM. DM said, I once thought I won $10,555 on scratch cards. My sister got me to do a happy dance and filmed it. That video went on Facebook, and the tickets were fake. Oh, talk about a cool
that's
joke,
messed
dude.
up.
Isn't that messed up?
That should be illegal.
It should be. Is that enough my life?
Big time.
Yeah.
Probably, at least you didn't
100%.
call her boss and quit and everything, did the whole thing.
Oh, yeah. F you. I hated you from day one.
Right.
Call back the next day. I was just playing.
I'm just kidding.
Mm-hmm.
It's a prank.
Yeah. 2 more F My Life. Steven sent me this email, beefvegan@kfma.com, said, recently some musclehead showed up to my house and started beating on me. Turned out my son had been posing online as a Navy SEAL, used a picture of me, and dared this guy to come over and fight me. Oh, damn, dude.
Okay.
What did you do to your son?
For real.
Yeah.
That's the real question here.
Oh, man. F My Life.
Big time.
And real,
Lucky he's alive.
real quick, you weren't the musclehead in question, were you?
No.
Okay, because you got muscles, so you never know. But yeah, definitely F My Life. See, whenever you get your ass kicked for reasons unknown, it's a bad day. Final F My Life of the day is the most Tucson F My Life that I've received in at least 18 months. It was sent to me by Lauren. Lauren said, "Hey, Beef, yesterday my mom decided to tell me about her new boyfriend. I know him. I've slept with him."
Oh, Tucson.
Big gasp right there. I know, it's big city, small town. F My Life, what do you say there, Rico?
Big FML.
Yeah, I know.
Ew.
Yes, and honestly, it's terrifying as you continue to date around. If you date within a 20 age gap, right? 25 to 45, which is all, all fine and legal, adult fun, but you could run into these situations. So yeah, F My Life for Lauren, F My Life for the new boyfriend, and double F My Life for the mom. F My Life's all around. You get an F My Life. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, let's hit the reset. We come back. We're gonna give away up to $100 of gift certificates to Rocco's Little Chicago Pizza. Another edition of Tap Outs coming up next. All right, we're back, and yes, it's okay, Dale. Don't kick yourself over the cursing that happens.
I've done it too.
Yeah, I know, and honestly, I don't necessarily get in trouble for that. So, not that we could just do it all the time, for sure, but when it's a listener messing up, then and I hit the dump, it is what it is. I mean, if they heard it, I might get like, you need to watch out for that, and it's an annoying conversation at most. I want to show you pictures. Yesterday, I got throwback pictures from Meg, who's like my sister. I got a tattoo on my arm of my best friend who passed away, Dan. Now going on like 2 decades ago, right? It's been a long time, almost 2 decades. It's a long time. And Meg's always been like my sister, and she sent me pictures of a throwback, and I'm trying to even recall when it was. I think we're drinking is it Bud Ices? This is gangster beef. And me as I'm thinking I'm like 18, 19 years old.
I was gonna say that's what you look like. Like, I don't think you're quite 21 yet.
Oh, I'm definitely not 21, but I am in a very incriminating photo with Dan's mom, Louise, who was definitely aiding and abetting to minors, right?
Mm-hmm.
She was cool. So yes, we're drinking what is it? I want to say that's like Bud Ice, which is stronger beer, right? I'm on the left, obviously, rocking that Fila. When was the last time you see somebody wear Fila? That was a
1999.
thing. Yeah. Let's see. There's another.
Of course,
photo.
we used to be able to say that about Champion or whatever freaking sportswear, but now that's like
Coming
super
back.
popular and like, oh yeah, like you used to be able to get it at Ross for like $10. Not anymore.
I know. How many of you guys drank the Bud Ice before? Bud Ice was stronger, Budweiser. So, it was a higher alcohol volume. That's how hardcore we were. This crew right here, it's like we get fucked up. We get fucked up. That's Dan holding a bottle of tequila.
God, look at that Boy Meets World haircut from homie. And then the chin goatee and those freaking beaded necklaces.
I know. So here's the deal. So Dan, this is Dan holding the bottle of tequila. May he rest in peace. This is my friend Jake the Snake. When I talk about Jake, and right now he is a foreman for like a plumber foreman. This guy makes bank. He was also the most hardcore person in our crew as far as like hardcore drunk, druggy, everything. He also now makes the most money out of pretty much anyone I know. He was like literally running operations down here, building hospitals and shit.
Wow.
Dude is insane. This climber who we called Climax, that was his nickname. We all had names, right? and then me. And this is a good look, even though I'm giving fellatio to this beer bottle. Still, you can see, the hardness in my eyes. I was a G. Yeah.
Just weird to see you clean shaved.
Well, it wasn't clean shaved. It wasn't growing in yet, weirdo. So thanks for pointing that out. Oh yeah,
You're like, I hadn't hit puberty yet. Thanks.
There's one more photo here and stuff that I never even knew existed. Was this one being passed out the next morning
and creep behind you being like, oh, I'm ready to draw that penis.
Yeah, Dan's doing some kind of bullshit, so.
Are you wearing corduroys?
You're damn right I'm wearing baggy ass corduroys with my Fila shirt, rocking that 90s fit.
Oh my God. We went to the Grey Wolf Lodge last weekend and there was a group of teenagers and somebody was wearing, I don't mean like, ooh, little wide leg jeans that are making a comeback. No, these were old school, like 54-inch Jinkos. And I was like, I wish I was as cool as you when I was a kid.
No, I know. My daughter's on that tip. She wears all those baggy clothes. She has corduroys.
And
basically,
she got the face piercing. She got all of it, man.
Yeah, the entire 90s style that I was rocking, my daughter is now currently rocking. So I'm like, wow. It's so funny how cyclical it is. And then you can't even it's so great, I guess, because when I was going through that phase, my parents didn't like it because they grew up in the 70s. So, it was bell bottoms and shit like that. So I wasn't rocking that. But I have a situation with a teenager who's wearing the exact same clothes that myself and my friends wore. So I can't hate on that. I'm like, man, you look dope as fuck, dude.
Right. Or like, I love it when one of my teenagers would like try to wear something that would like try to, get a reaction out of me. And I'm like, that's probably what I wanted to wear in high school. You're fine. I don't give a shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. We're going to wrap things up here. One more show for Weirdo. It's going to be on Friday. It's going to be super. She promised she will do the show completely nude, which will be fun. And yeah, I look forward to it. And honestly,
we promise at least 3 nipple slips.
Yeah. Excellent. Yes. And honestly, we'll be seeing Weirdo again, just periodically and stuff. Still part of the fam. And
I'm hoping a couple times a month once I get kind of like set into my routine at the new place.
Me too. At the very least, let me be your period boyfriend. Come once a month. We got 3 seconds here. Get into a beef tip.
You're so gross.
I know. Rock on 2.1 KFMA. Unfortunately, that's all the time that we have for the show. But I'd like to thank our guest for the podcast broadcast, Kat Timpf, who's performing this Sunday at the Linda Ronstat Music Hall. You get your ticket information at thetcc.com. Tomorrow, we'll give away another pair of tickets so you can see Kat. Here is your beef tip before we wrap things up. Nutritionists say the best foods that you need to eat when you want some energy are these 3 things. Complex carbs, right? So like bread, wheat bread, oatmeal, brown rice, high fiber foods like fruits, vegetables, grams, and nuts, and heart healthy fats, meaning unsaturated kind of things like nuts, seeds, avocados, dark chocolate. Or if you want to make everyone in the office hate you, you can microwave some fish. So those are 3 foods.
All I
give
heard
you
was
that.
nuts.
Yeah, you did. I'm gonna miss you. All right, try safe, ride safe, rock local.
You wish upon a side of beef. Soon will come.
All right, guys. We'll be back tomorrow morning. Herb Stratford, a bunch of other people. Totally forgot who I booked. It's gonna be a good time.
I will knock out all your teeth.
Just another fever dream. It'll be fine.